I like these days to pitch weird influences with filmmakers when it's the first time I work with them, like just to see where I stand.
Oh yeah!
Commit and go big or go home.
Red Rooms, it's my third feature film, wrote and directed.
3, 2, 1, action!
It follows the trial of a fictional serial killer, but from the vantage point of a woman who is obsessed by the killer. Both lawyers expose their side of the story. And obviously it would make a good setup for a whodunit, like a classical, like did he do it, did he not do it, how did he do it? But this is not the film. The film evolves into a kind of a ghost story.
When Pascal told me that he wanted to shoot it in like 23 days, I thought he was a madman. But Pascal has a past of being like an athlete. We were really turned on by the idea of having the audience look at the first quarter of the film and be like, oh, okay, cool, techno thriller. Like, of course, they're gonna do a little bit of Fincher, and then subvert that by going in this crazy direction.
At first, she's a bit dead inside. She's this robot-like character, and so static shots, dolly shots, crane shots, obviously.
She's kind of a ghost in society, the main character. We were always trying to find ways to establish that through subtle visual cues. So let's try to do a Steadicam that will feel very unstable. It was a very interesting experience to have the camera operator be a little bit floaty, be a little bit like you're drunk. I was lit for an F-16 on the camera. Everything would be in sharp focus all the time, even as we do those long zoom ins and we end up on long focal lengths. She's hiding in plain sight. A lot of Quebec courthouses are very modern, are very sterile. Something that would offer nowhere to hide.
Kellyanne is kind of like a ghost in life, but also a kind of a superhero when she exists online.
One of the first things that struck me when Pascal sent me the script was, oh my God, there are so many screens. And it's kind of cliche, but most cinematographers will go oh, I hate doing phone inserts and I hate shooting screens. So I was like, okay, for this one, I really need to embrace it. It's a person that lives through her screens. Always looking at something, and she lives in that frame. Screens are part of our life. We just need to find interesting ways to film them. So we did a lot of work when we were doing tests. I bought a bunch of those things that you put on screens to reduce the blue light. Oh, maybe we could put some plastic on top of them to get some reflection so that at least sometimes we would see her face as she's interacting with the content. And then Pascal and I really love split diopters. So we had all those little tricks that we had in our arsenal.
Then Clémentine comes into play, so we go more for handheld. Not handheld that feels nervous, but handheld that feels just a bit like there's a bit of life into the image. But when Clémentine leaves, then the film becomes more of a paranoid thriller.
There's one shot that I really, really like. The one where the camera starts sideways, because it's a turning point, because her friend has just left. And we're like, oh, how do we show that in a cut? Oh, she's shifting. He knew that I was a geeky guy, I really like technology, and he was like, oh, I know you're really into technology. I've got this thing I think would fit with your sensibilities. The movie is not informed by a 2-page mood board. It's informed by hours and hours of conversations and talking about the films we like, how we would like the movie to transform as it goes along. A mix between some Haneke and Dreyer, rigid aesthetics, and then go into that operatic Argento, De Palma, Abel Ferrara kind of state of mind.
I didn't necessarily storyboard the whole thing because I think it's overkill. You don't necessarily need that, but I did storyboard a few things. We did 3D previs of all the the more tricky courtroom scenes. I'm putting myself in a dangerous territory because I am not gonna rely more on handheld or kind of looser staging with the actors. You cannot really cut away if you do an 11-minute long take. And I'm not doing it to be flashy, but I just like to commit to the idea. You're not going to make a bold decision in editing. Like if you haven't made bold decisions in writing and in shooting, like you're just going to settle for what works. Like just make the choice now.